We're teaching LDP, long distance pushing, and if you're regular stance, there's two kicks that you really need to learn. The quick refresh, I talked about having the foot a little bit back, but what I haven't shown in the video or talked about is when I'm kicking, what you don't see is every time my kick foot hits the ground, my push foot, whatever, however you want to say it, if it doesn't feel comfortable for me to hold a balance spot, then I do a little shift of my, let's separate your foot with the balls of your feet and your heel. Sometimes I'll shift the heel, or sometimes I'll shift the balls of my feet. So what you're ultimately looking for is a balance point that is comfortable, because really in long distance racing too, this little bit of a stretch is good for your hamstring and for your calves. And then when you get to be a faster kicker, you know, you're going to have more power if you can drive from a higher position. But before you get to all that, you need to know how to shift the foot that's on the board by getting the balance right. And then if I talked about having two kicks, the other kick that you need to learn how to do is with the opposite foots. This is still regular stance, but now you're kicking with the back foot. And it's the same deal. When you're kicking and you're not able to hold your foot out and balance, then you might need to shift your heel a little bit here, or you know, you can pivot off the balls of your feet, or sometimes I even pivot off my heel, but it's more off the balls of your feet to spin your foot. And this happens when you're kicking and your foot hits the ground, the weight is on the road, so that gives you the opportunity to shift your foot before the weight pressure comes back on the board. The other thing too is use your arms. I know it's really like a natural memory for me, but when I bring this foot back on, this arm goes in the back, and that really gives me a lot of stability. And if I translate it to the opposite side, which is, this is regular stance, mind you, most people learn how to kick a skateboard with their foot somewhere on the board, but I think optimum is, like, this is a 30.5 wheelbase, I'm 5'10", it's a little bit behind, and generally too, when after I've kicked for a while and I'm bringing my foot back, sometimes I'll actually spin my hips a little bit by moving the pivot on my foot, so that it's just easier to bring my foot on. Once your foot is on, then you get into a comfortable stance to either go down the grade or just to rest or catch your breath, things like that. So, and talking about, I mentioned how when I bring this foot, when I'm kicking on the opposite side of regular stance, how I bring my arm up. When I'm kicking with the regular stance, it's the opposite. This hand arm is good for balance. There's a method called scogging, where my friend Steve Makita, he's carrying the torch for Chris Yandel. He taught a rhythm to cross over, to transition from a regular stance into a goofy stance. But that's a whole different video. And really, for the marathon, I don't want to make it complicated. Got that big marathon coming around Fiesta Island in San Diego on November 20th, 2016. And if you can get, you know, your regular kick, you got some practice, and you get your opposite foot, your left foot kick for regular stance, if you get that down, then that's really all you need to compete, you know, in a distance marathon with, of course, training. All right, so let's shut it down for this. aspect that I didn't mention. So say you're cruising and you're rolling, and when I was first learning, this little tip I'm going to share with you right now really improved my ability to skate distance. It's just a simple aspect, but when you're rolling and you're ready to plant your foot down, you want to, and I'll exaggerate it in front of the board here. So you got your comfortable stance. You want to spin this foot so that when you bring your foot off the board, you're not standing like wide open. You have no control. So say I'm kicking, I bring my foot on the board, and then I want to bring my front foot off the board again. So what I need to do is spin this back foot and drop down. Remember I was talking earlier about this angle stance right here. You need to spin the foot, drop down, and then you see it's a lot easier to put your foot down. And when it's the opposite, when you're kicking regular stance again, and you're kicking, and you bring your foot up, and you spread, before you bring your back foot down, I'll show you without staying on the board. So you've actually brought the foot on, you're just cruising at a stance, but then you're going to bring your foot down to kick. You need to spin the front foot, get into your a relaxed forward position, and then begin your kicking. The best example I can give is, say I'm cruising, I'm ready to put my kick foot down, I just spun this foot. You didn't see it? I'm sure you did. Then when you bring this foot down, it's comfortable to be able to kick. And since I'm practicing on going down a few grades, being aggressive and staying forward is a big benefit. So if I got a lot of speed and I bring my foot up, I don't immediately stand up. Being in my tuck, it's easier to negotiate the speed. And then I can bring the foot back, and then it's comfortable, and I go forward. Anyway, I hope that helps you. I'm gonna go down.
I got you.
That's kicking, when you kick, you actually want to be able to put it out. You can actually almost, in your mind, swing it forward, because the way your body mechanics is, even if you swing it forward, it's going to come to the side of the board. And I saw some traffic coming, so I got distracted, and I wanted to mention, like, okay, this is regular stance again, right? When you kick, even regular stance, you want to, swing your leg forward. That'll give you the most balance. And worth mentioning is, like, besides your chin being down, besides you staying in, you see how this is bent when you're actually kicking, your body turns with your shoulder. I know for skate park, it really helped me when I learned that my shoulders was one of the main mechanisms for my steering on the wall or in bowls. And really, I was thinking about it, and it transitions as well for LDP. So when I'm kicking and I'm going to bring my foot back on, I'm turning my shoulder a little bit before actually I bring my foot on, makes it a lot easier. Now, you might have done it so many times with your regular stance that you don't notice it, but when you're kicking on the opposite side, it's the same thing. Whereas if in your mind you're turning your shoulders back, you know, it makes it easier for your foot to come on. Another aspect I left out is what I see a lot of people do wrong when they're kicking is they're throwing their kick foot all over the place. I just exaggerated that movement. You want to kick out in front. And you see, I adjusted my toe a little bit so it was a little bit more comfortable. But you need to be able to hold that balance. And now, the opposite foot is the same deal. What you don't want to do is you don't want to kick straight legged. See, this leg is straight. You want to kick with a bend, a natural bend. You want to stay in this bend until after your foot's re-entered, so you have both feet on the board. Most people that do regular stance will be learning it on this side as well. You keep your leg bent in a comfortable, you're relaxing your hips. You're finding that sweet spot where you can balance. You're kicking towards the inside of the board so you're not getting all squirrely, getting away from your board. But if your wheelbase is too short, then you have a good chance of tagging this wheel. So I mentioned earlier in the video that the wheelbase, the inside trucks is from the inside truck mount here, this area is 30.50 inches. The deck in its entirety is 41 inches. I think on the don'ts, my main thing was when you kick that you don't flail your legs out there. Another thing is if you have a drop-through board with a rocker, you're going to notice that a lot of energy is sucked into the road. Those are aspects I don't like. That's why when I finally had a production run of boards for my club, I decided I wanted something that was stout, rigid, that not only could I use it as a good solid push board so I could transfer energy fast, but I wanted it for a pump board. I wanted it set it up different for a downhill board, same thing for a free ride board. Okay, I think that kind of sums up. We're going to do another clip, kind of have you see me roll this board with a little action. But what you won't see the most is the fact that I'm pivoting whether I'm on this side or whether I'm pushing from this side, that every time this foot hits the ground, I'm adjusting a little bit on the deck so that my balance point is very comfortable. That gives me the ability to push hard and kick fast. I'm sure there's a few things I'm missing out, but that'll just have to be on the next video. That's a little bit to work with. I'm sure I'll be out skating and thinking about a few things I could have added to that, but that'll be on the next clip. Thanks for checking it out, and remember the big marathon in San Diego, the Adrenalina Skateboard Marathon around Fiesta Island. It's like 6 laps. It's one of the best racing parties I've ever been to. And really, other than that, God bless you. I'm also a preacher, JesusRulesMinistry.com. If you would like some information about the Lord, there's a scripture guide book out there. It's free. It's for anyone interested to do a self-study and build a relationship with God. Anyway, no agenda on that, but it's a privilege to offer it. All right then, see ya. Peace. Didn't really talk about it through the clips, but that whole arm pump thing, just like a runner, it helps after you to keep you in rhythm, gives you balance, and God bless you.